Three.
Hello, 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 Cryptonauts. Welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I'm your host, Blockchain John, with my co-host, Jake Jabrelli. We have a special person here today with us. We have Crypto Grady from DeFi Kingdoms. So, Crypto Grady, before we get started, I want to ask you a question. And that question is, you ready? It is an icebreaker
I,
question.
I'm ready. Let's do it, baby.
All right. If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be, and which celebrity would play it?
Oh, baby. Right off the top, right off the dome, as soon as you asked that question, what hit me first right away? 300. I am the guy leading the army, reckless, abandon, let's go
Leonidas?
to the death. And
Leonidas.
what,
Yeah.
what's that guy? Leonidas.
Actor.
What's the
Yeah.
actor's name? What's his
I don't
name?
know. I don't know. We got to look it up, man. I want to find out who it is.
Oh, I'm
Who
not good with, but it'll come to me.
it is.
Gerard Butler.
Yes, that's it.
Oh,
Gerard
you got
Butler.
it.
Have
Nice.
it,
Yeah.
baby.
Gerard
Yeah.
Butler plays King
Yeah.
Leonidas. Like,
Nice.
that's cool.
Welcome to Grady.
I
Welcome to the podcast. How you doing, buddy?
It's
You know?
great to be here. It's awesome. You guys are interested. How did you guys get interested in DeFi Kingdoms?
Well,
How did that even come
well,
along?
I'm
Where
always
did that come from?
I'm always interested in crypto projects, so that's one of my passions. I'm always looking around at different servers and different websites, and it happens to come along my feed one of these days. I think it was about a year ago, more than a year ago actually, probably closer to 2 years if I'm not mistaken. And I've been peeping you guys' progress, and it's been very solid. There's like been no breaks. Like you guys are just hitting it out of the park. It's amazing. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yes, that's right. So the team, DeFi Kingdoms team, just grinding away through the bear market, one of the dream teams of all dream teams in crypto. And that's
For
what we
reals,
look
man.
for.
Yeah.
There's so much going on with the project. It's unbelievable, actually. So I started crypto back in 2015 and just kind of tippy toed in. By 2017, I was like all in, pretty much full time, and eventually, got wrecked by the bear market, learned everything the hard way.
Which
And
bear market?
okay, in 2018, 2019, 2020.
All of them.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
So, so and then fortunately I kind of just barely hung in there. Almost got out of crypto altogether because I just back then it was a real threat that maybe it will die, but like government will ban it and this and that. We weren't sure if it would actually survive and stick around. Well,
Uh-huh.
now past that big hump to get past, we still have a lot of government shenanigans against crypto going on, of course, but you know back when I was really getting inundated and I was in almost every DeFi ecosystem, blockchain you could imagine. Just about all of them. So many that I lost track even. It's every once in a while it hits me like, "Oh my gosh, I've got this wallet somewhere." And okay, and I was always looking for that gem of a project out there where the team has awesome core values, looking out for the best interests of others,
Mm-hmm.
even over their own best interests, where they're grinding, where they are talented, gifted, have their SHIT together, and grind that is unknown, like a project, tiny little gem of a project that's unknown, where it's awesome, and the tokenomics as well. So all those
Right.
different. Well, then I come across DeFi Kingdoms, and the more I dug into it, the more I dove into it, I find they're transparent. They actually have weekly AMAs. They had it today. They had their weekly AMA today where
Yep.
the team comes on and they talk about everything, going on in the project, all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
Their tokenomics, which is not updated, by the way, on CoinGecko yet, but it's coming where it's only Jewel, 125 million tokens. It's deflationary and it's mostly all circulating. And so just amazing, phenomenal tokenomics, brilliant in-game economy with guys like Hubert on the team, different guys working, doing awesome things. And then a bunch of FUD kind of came out against the team, and it was false. It was basically 100% the opposite is true. False FUD against Frisky Fox and team. And I just couldn't help myself but to come to their defense. Leonidas, leading the army.
One of your, I guess, followers commented here, now I'm picturing Leonidas yelling, "This is Grady!"
I love it. This is Sparta. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So Grady. All right. So my brother from another crypto mother. All right. So
yeah.
Here, here. Let's get a little backstory on you. Before you even got into crypto, give us a little backstory. How did you even discover crypto? What was your first thing? Everybody has their genesis story. What's yours before you got into crypto?
I love it. Yeah. So I had heard about it a little bit, but I didn't get it at all. And I had an insurance company that I had started. This guy, car dealership, had an insurance company, and I insured this doctor. And then this doctor started some Papa John's pizza, different branches. And he was telling me about Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. And we were going to go mine the Bitcoin together. And so, and it was like all in. Yeah, let's do it. And I still didn't get it. I download the Coinbase app. This was actually like in 2013. Okay. Or maybe even 2012 when this was going on. But I didn't get it. And we were both so busy. He actually did the Bitcoin mining, but I didn't ever get in with him just because, but I fully intended to, just didn't happen. Well, then later I just kept hearing about it from different people in my office. You said you were selling cars at the time? Well, I actually had an insurance company was my main business at that point. So I had phased out of the car dealership and was all in on the insurance company that was thriving at that point. And so just, and I was working crazy hours back then too, but was kind of at a place where I had it running itself and was going to do Bitcoin mining, was going to do it. We talked about it, was even starting to plan to do it. And it just, for whatever reason, it just never happened. And it was killing me. Then come 2015, 2016, it had done a big pump by then. And I look at it like, wow, I start buying at $2,500 and $3,000, and just started playing around with it, and then got caught on to different YouTubers, and this just slowly got more and more inundated into the ecosystem as time went on.
Nice.
That's a Genesis story.
So Bitcoin was the first coin.
Yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That's all that was on Coinbase.
I remember. Yeah. That was the first thing that I got into was Litecoin primarily because I couldn't find Bitcoin anywhere. John is a different story for that, but great to hear your backstory. But
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now, go ahead.
Well, and I remember it didn't take too long before, and Binance was brand new, the Binance exchange, and everyone was saying it's a scam. Be careful, it's the riskiest. Blah blah blah.
Oh, the Chinese! It's a Chinese scam. Don't get into
it. Yeah. Right. But I was like, but it's the best one. Yeah. It's the best, cheapest fees. Everything about it's the best. It's the easiest to use. But so I was buying Binance coin at 79 cents. I remember my first buy, and
wow. That's nice.
And a lot of people kind of convinced me though to kind of get out. But fortunately I hung on to a decent little amount, and it went up to $15, and I sold 90%. With full intention to rebuy, but then the US made it illegal, back then, and I was like, I had to stay out. And then fortunately I still had like a little bit left, 10% left, that just went nuts. That 10%, and I ended up selling all the way out of it at right at the top.
That's good, man. That's a good success story right there, man.
Yeah, I started selling some at $79, I remember, and then I sold some at like $215 and then sold more at $500 and then right, 670 something. And man, had I just held on. So actually, that's probably my biggest crypto mistake.
Hey, we all we all
all
have
do
one of
it.
those stories, man. Hey, we all have one of those stories.
Yeah, taking profits turns out being my biggest crypto mistake, which is odd. I was in 100 other coins that went to zero where I didn't take the profit and wrote it all the way down.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
more than all of that combined times 10, if I had just hung on, I'd have been a lot better off. So, great story there.
I think we all have a story, at least one story of that kind of like, oh, if only I had. But nobody has a crystal ball, so
Right.
you get what you get.
Here's the thing, Grady. Have you ever lost your keys?
Almost. But
Oh.
fortunately, I had it copied on my notes on an old phone that my kids had.
Wow, that's dangerous.
And I was able to recover keys to some of my different wallets. But yeah, that scares. That's a lot of people aren't quite ready to self custody their crypto. So
that's a lot of responsibility.
is always pushing, get a ledger and get this and that. But a lot of people, like, there's a lot more crypto out there lost than there is from hacks and exchanges. Actually, even though it's a lot of hacks, a lot of money lost in hacks. But it's the losing. I think a lot of people lose it. Even more so, and that's not talked about enough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There needs to be a better service for onboarding, even though it is getting better, but also a better way to manage the security or managing the ability to maintain those funds as self custody and not lose those keys. So there was one, I forgot which company's doing it, which crypto project's doing it, but tethering like your email account to it. But there was, I think, a privacy issue with that. So they're trying. People are trying to figure out what's the best way to do that without, if you ever do misplace your keys, at least you can use your email to get it back. But
something like that.
One of these days.
There'll be problems with that. So there's a guy named Brown Gent. He's also an influencer for DeFi Kingdoms. The Brown Gent does it right. He's got it at 2 different safety deposit boxes, and even if the bank person, and he has got a trust, so it's in a trust and a safety deposit box, and whereas to the point to where even if the bank teller was corrupt and tried to get in it, they couldn't figure it out. So it's almost like if you really want to do it right, that's how you got to do it.
All right, Grady, now we're here, man. This is it. We're here to talk about DeFi Kingdoms. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let me show on screen here first the website. Let's go ahead and go through this real quick. So I'm at game.defykingdoms.com, and there's also defykingdoms.com that kind of goes over the general understanding of how the game is played and how you can get into it. You can even start playing immediately. Let's see. You guys do have your own tokenomics built into the game, which is the Jewel token, which you guys use. Let's see here.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. What I'm curious.
Start there. Why don't we start there? Let's start with the tokenomics. Okay, so when the game was first launched, Frisky Fox, baby, and Pieface, he just was some guy who had previously been a developer. He's a genius, absolutely brilliant developer, but he had never started a crypto project before. So imagine trying to start a crypto project, especially on the scale, well, he did it. He just one day decided to develop this thing out and start his own crypto project because he had been a part of other crypto projects that he didn't like. The core values didn't line up, and so he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this right and do it my own way. Starts up his own project. And so, but as far as like hiring staff, firing, just the whole encompassing what it actually takes to bring on and actually start a crypto project is beyond what most people can ever endure, which is why most projects go to zero. There's actually well over 100,000 cryptos out there. well over 100,000. Now on CoinGecko, we only see like 35,000 or something. But that's because like 500,000 crypto projects are no longer even on CoinGecko. They're basically dead projects because to actually start a legit project is so crazy hard. So he starts this thing with and didn't fully he knew he had the core values, his heart was in the right place, and he's a phenomenal developer. Well, so then as time went on, he starts running these things, and the project exploded. It just took hold with some different influencers in the space, and it eventually took hold of George. I am George with Cryptos RS. It took hold, and so George was talking about it and was in on the project. So
Nice.
was Crypto Man Ran. Yeah, Crypto Banter was in on it, and Hustle. They were talking about it, and the project just absolutely like 10,000x or something. It was less than a penny, and then it went up to $24. Jewel did, and at the
Nice.
time, yeah, Jewel was the end game. Jewel was the all-encompassing token. It was the end game token that you have to use to level your heroes up, to summon your heroes with your NFT heroes. That are actually, these NFTs are the most complex NFTs there are in crypto, is my understanding. I don't think there's any other. Like, if you read the code on the NFTs, they're the most complex NFTs in crypto, period, or at least one of the most. And so there's so much to these NFTs that you can summon them together and create more NFTs with a deep genetic. There's so much to the genetics, and I love talking about this. Talk about it all the time on my channel, and so the Jewel token at the time was used as both the token that for the liquidity pool. So it first started out as just a DEX, but then he wanted to make it as a gamified NFT DEX and actually create a combat system and everything with these NFTs. Well, there's a lot that goes into that. Okay. And so it blew up so fast and so hard, and they grew. He hired 50 employees, was just like having to hire people like so fast, like go through so many learn so many hard knocks through that whole process. And Jewel was the token that you were earning the interest in. And so it was highly inflationary at the time, but it was pretty brilliant even then, tokenomics. If you step back and look at the bigger picture, pretty brilliant tokenomics that was going on. But there was a certain amount of Jewel that was unlocked versus a certain amount of Jewel that was locked, and you could have your miner NFT heroes that were mining the locked Jewel. Okay, and so there were some different things that were popping up, some issues that kind of came up, and long story short, we could get into that if anybody needs to. If anybody needs to know the history, but there was some accusations that came out against him that were false. Totally false, pretty much. And there was a little issue
against Frisky Fox.
against Frisky Fox in the project.
Okay.
And then there was a mass exodus out of the ecosystem, and some of the influencers started flooding the project, and it went all the way back up to George and back to Crypto Banter, and they were kind of saying it looks like this is a dead project. And so there, at one point, there was 55,000 daily active users in the game every day, and their Discord was over 120,000, and and there was this mass exodus that happened. Then shortly after that, just a couple months later, or less than a couple months later, we had the Harmony bridge hack happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and so DeFi Kingdoms originally was Serendale on Harmony. Well, they also teamed up with Avalanche and created an Avalanche subnet called Crystal Veil, but that was like kind of slowly being developed out. And so, but that turned out being their lifeline. That other the DeFi Kingdoms DFK chain Avalanche subnet.
Okay,
Because when
hold on. So
huh
DeFi Kingdom on Harmony is no longer, or is it still a thing?
it's no longer,
Okay.
but you can still very easily get your stuff out of there if, and a lot of people still have their heroes and their tokens and their stuff stuck on there still. It's real easy to get it off there and bridge it right on into Crystal Veil, their own blockchain now.
Okay, so that answers one of my questions. I was going to ask you, why is DeFi Kingdoms using the Avalanche blockchain if it came out on Harmony? See,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
can't.
know about.
Part of the original vision, that's a great question. Part of the original vision was to be a multi-chain DEX game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
And
awesome.
so that was always part of the plan. And part of the dilemma was on Crystal Veil, okay, they had to come out with a new token to be the power token we call in-game power token, to actually use the token in-game for leveling your heroes, for summoning your heroes, for doing the duels. There's already a game in the game called it's duels, and on Crystal Veil that power token was Crystal, but on Serendale 1.0 that power token was Jewel, whereas on Crystal Veil the Jewel is the gas token.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They have their own their own blockchain called the DFK chain, where Jewel is actually the gas token, and but Crystal was still the uh, the power token. But it created some problems, and the team had given us a heads up that there was a massive unlocking of Jewel that was also coming in September, in this past September it came. But that was after the Harmony Bridge hack happened, and they were able essentially move all of the functionality of the game from Serendale into Crystal Veil, their new blockchain, and to get off of the Harmony blockchain, because it's basically a dying blockchain. And because of the hack, and the developers on Harmony, I think, just got really discouraged, and there are some problems there, and it's basically just a dying chain at this point. Not any more development happening there, and so they had to get out of there, and they were able to do that, and it turned out kind of being a lifesaver. And Avalanche really stepped up and helped them financially, helped them because they were also in the bridge hack and the Luna situation, because Luna was another potential realm that they were wanting to create and get into that ecosystem down the road. That was a possibility, as well as So the Luna token and UST was in their liquidity pools in Harmony. So Harmony was kind of tied into the Luna ecosystem. So was Phantom, Matic, Binance Smart Chain. You had all these different tokens at the time, along with Bitcoin, Ethereum, several different tokens that you could provide liquidity and earn, by having liquidity in those pools. Well, then the bridge hack happened, and it just wrecked everyone. And the Luna situation wrecked everyone. It just was one, and the Voyager thing really wrecked me as well. So Voyager, man, I don't know if you guys were in on that one way back when.
No, thank God.
But it was called, what was it called? Hello, Brain. Voyager was called something else.
The Three Arrows Capital was
Ethos. It was Ethos.
Ethos.
Did you remember token Ethos back in the day? And then it turned into Voyager. I was then on it way back then, and anyways, loved that. Was big on Voyager, and hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen there. Hopefully, we get something back out of that. Anyways, so all of that happened, and it really wrecked the team, wrecked everyone. We're all wrecked. The ecosystem was already wrecked, and throughout that process, before all this happened,
we're talking about 2021 at this point, or 2022.
No, we're talking. So DeFi Kingdoms is just a year and a half old now at this point, or less than a year and a half old, even less than a year and a half. Their 1 year birthday was at the end of August last year. So, and which feels like a couple months ago still. So it's like, whoa, that was almost, that's coming up on 6 months ago. It's weird. So the whole thing. All of this has happened within a year and a half. And throughout the process too, early on, before all this happened, he was able to get Pieface is another one that Fritzy Fox kind of helped develop, started this thing with. And Pieface's husband at the time, who's now Dreamer, it's called Dreamer, he was becoming an executive in Goldman Sachs, a rock star. He was in charge, in charge of risk management for Goldman Sachs. Okay. And Dreamer could have by now actually been straight up an executive on the board, probably by now. Rising star in charge of risk management for the largest accounts of Goldman Sachs. He left Goldman Sachs and joined DeFi Kingdoms.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
then,
a bold move, man. That's a bold
know
move.
And then shortly after that, all this happened. It's just crazy.
Oh, man.
I know, right? And somehow they also have other guys. There's another rock star in the community and on the team called Hubert Cumberdale, who's big brains, just brilliant guy behind the genius in the game. There's so much genius in the economy of the system, in the ecosystem of the game. Also, a couple GOAT developers, Beetle Dude and Magnus, several guys. Also, Dreamer's brother, who is a PhD psychologist, quit his job. PhD psychologist, doctor, is also joining the team.
Wow.
All the just key players on the team. Okay. And they've somehow managed to, I can tell you, at least 99% of all other crypto projects in existence would have died off by now with all the stuff they had to deal with. It's just a monster what they had to deal with throughout all that. Not only have they dealt with that, they've been able to formulate substantially more structure, a business structure. They've created what's called Kingdom Studios and have formulated several more partnerships all over the world, not only with Avalanche, but also with a gaming studio called Wisdom Gaming, which is one of the largest esports gaming broadcasts in America with a large an arena, like a gaming esport arena in Mall of America, Minneapolis. And the main founder behind that is the main dev who's developing out alongside Hubert Cumberdale and some other team. There's a team of Wisdom Gaming that came together with a team of DeFi Kingdoms, including Hubert, who's behind the game that's very soon to come out within the next 2-3 months, maybe even 1 month away. The actual PvP combat system is coming, and PvE.
Okay.
And this guy, another anomaly, just brilliant, phenomenal human being. Okay.
So the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem is going to continue to grow and grow and grow, right? That's what it sounds like, especially with partnering with I guess gaming developers around the world. I was curious: is DeFi Kingdoms going to expand into other games or just stick with DeFi Kingdoms?
Well, okay, so that's another really awesome question that I'm really excited to clack out of the park here because so you hear of gaming companies like Gala Games.
Yeah.
There's several. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know Gala Games.
Yeah, Gala Games, Wax. These are like gaming platforms. There's several more in my mind, my brain. What's another? There's another big one.
Sandbox?
Sandbox is like a metaverse.
True.
And this also could become a metaverse. But essentially what DeFi Kingdoms can do is offer the exact same thing that Gala Games can do. Where other developers, there's actually one in the chat. There's several phenomenal third-party developers. Born to Die in the chat, baby. He's a third-party dev in the ecosystem. And but there's upside here where if someone wants to come on the DFK chain, which has more transactions, I is to my understanding, I think actually more transactions done on the DFK chain, which is an Avalanche subnet, than even on the Ethereum blockchain. More daily active transactions on the DFK chain. And game developers could come on and develop their own game, which several already have. One, there's the game called Fight Club. It's a Discord-based game, actually. But other developers can come in, develop games, and actually use the NFTs if they want. They don't even have
That's pretty cool. This is all through Kingdom Studios, right?
Well, they can come and develop on the blockchain of DeFi DFK chain. And get support. Yes, getting support from Kingdom Studios.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Now,
and quite.
Yeah. Do they have to use the Avalanche blockchain, or can they use another chain and bridge over?
Well, they could develop on the DFK chain, which is the Avalanche subnet chain. It's their own totally autonomous, independent blockchain.
Yep.
And so it's an Avalanche subnet, yes, but it's actually their own autonomous chain that could survive on its own.
Sweet.
And will survive, on its own. Even if Avalanche had their own issues, they're still their own autonomous blockchain. So Avalanche has really been really phenomenal on their partnerships they're doing, but even the technology behind what they can do with these subnets kind of came out of nowhere. I'm a big Cosmos guy, which is huge Cosmos bull right here. And then I remember when Avalanche first came out with the subnet thing, I was like, this kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we didn't really hear much about it ahead of time. But when you dive into the technology, it's actually really phenomenal and easy cross-chain. Okay. Also, what they've done. Okay. So they wanted to move Serendale to a new blockchain, and they were able to secure, surprisingly, another just phenomenal partnership with a chain called Clayton blockchain. Clayton is an Asian.
I'm mind blown at all the stuff that's going on. I didn't realize all this stuff was going on. This is crazy. I'm literally jaw dropped. I'm listening to you. It's like, what? How is this even possible? This is crazy.
I'm telling you, we could go on for hours. There's so much. The Clayton partnership, like they could have, Polygon wanted in. There's other potential chains, but Clayton, for several different reasons for them, made the most sense. And really allowed them to just build out in several more different ways than some of the other options they had. Polygon is another one they'd like to eventually have a realm on, though. But who knows? We're not sure. And that's like on pause. We don't need another realm. What we need is the game, that system. And there's so much more we could talk about. But the partnership they made with Clayton Blockchain, and then that was just recently launched. That's, how long ago was that? Was that December? Man, it just feels like it's only been a couple months at most.
So all these projects that are utilizing the Kingdom's blockchain, or the DFK blockchain, obviously it's bringing more value to the blockchain, but I'm assuming it's also bringing value to the tokenomics, to the Jewel token, or do they not even have to use that, or is that a must?
Yeah. So okay. So back to the tokenomics. So Clayton is their own blockchain, and it uses Clay as the gas token. And that's where now Serendale is launched with full parity. So you can do everything now. And that all happened real fast, even with some major complications. Major complications came up that they didn't realize was going to come. And that happened full parity, rocking and rolling. We got 2 realms now, 2 realms that are easily, and they communicate with one another. That's Serendale. But Crystal Vale is, of course, still crushing it, rocking and rolling. And Crystal Vale, where the gas token is Jewel. And every day, Jewel. What's that?
Here's a fact from one of the chatters. DFK chain did almost 5 million transactions in a single day at one point.
Yes. Yes. And it would still be that much, but actually the reason why it's not still 5 million a day transactions is because the devs made it even more efficient, to where now we can do what used to be able to just do like one quest at a time. Now we can do all this multi-questing, which saves on the number of transactions.
Beautiful.
And
freaking beautiful, man.
Every transaction is a fraction of a penny. So every trade on the dex, fraction of a penny, tiny fraction of a penny. And so it's the cheapest, and it's super fast, and there's hardly ever issues or problems on the blockchain. And so, and half of the Joule, though, all those transactions still cost Joule. Half of that is burned out of existence. So every day, approximately 4,000 Joule burned out of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in what happened? We did a community vote on how to handle this tokenomics issue, because we had a big issue with, when they first started the project, they didn't fully know how this would all shake out, right? They're just brand new, starting this thing. And what was going to happen was we were going to have like 250 million Joule get unlocked in the year of 2023. Okay. Which was like going to almost triple the total supply of Joule, which was a problem. And they also had this vision to have other blockchains down the road, talking years down the road, to have other blockchains come into play. And so we did a community vote, and it's a brilliant tokenomics change. So what they decided to do was, now Joule will no longer be an in-game power token. Joule instead was going to be, first of all, the gas token on the DFK chain. Second of all, Joule is going to be the governance token in which you can stake in the jeweler. And when you stake in the jeweler, it's a whole lot more than governance. It also provides in-game power-up benefits to your heroes, which are, to us gurus in the game, is super important. So then we decided that Joule, which at the time there was about 111 million Joule in circulation, and we decided that essentially, of that unlocked Joule, that locked Joule would in turn be converted into the power tokens to the new Serendale blockchain on Clayton and Crystal Vale, because Joule was the original power token. Now that was essentially converted into Jade, which is the new power token on Serendale, and Crystal, which is the power token on Crystal Vale. And now in the future, all power tokens will have the exact same tokenomics. And Joule will forever only have 125 million circulating supply, which at this point now, nearly all of that is circulating. And so every day,
according to chat, that is now considered a quarter of the supply of Joule. Is that correct?
Yeah, because originally there was going to be 500 million max supply of Joule, and there was 110 million circulating supply when this vote went down. Now it's 125 million max supply, and it's just about 125 million circulating at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just short of 25 million. And there's still a little bit left to be released from this whole tokenomics change. And every day I get a little bit from that, because I had some locked Joule at the time. That most of that, though, got converted into locked Jade and is about to be converted into locked Crystal. And so we pretty much have all the Joule that's ever going to be minted now circulating. And on top of that, about 4,000 Joule being burned every day out of existence. And now we have Jade and Crystal as the power tokens that are more inflationary, but even that, they have come out with just some absolutely brilliant tokenomics updates and use cases for those tokens to also be burned at a massive scale.
Who was the brains behind that?
Oh my gosh. Now we have, in one day, we had over 100,000 crystal burned recently.
Uh-huh.
And crystal and jade, though, are still inflationary because you get some pretty juicy APRs in the DEX for putting up liquidity.
Like what? Like give me an example.
Okay, so right now the Bitcoin Jade pool is getting somewhere around, I want to say like 230%.
What?
Something like that. Yeah, 230% interest. Now, if you want to go like Jewel Bitcoin, that's more like 100-ish%. And you can go Avalanche Jewel. Avalanche Jewel, that's the one with the lowest, I think, right now on Sarandale 2.0, which is like 50% interest. And a portion of that you get right away. And then a portion of that goes into your locked Jade balance. Well, now, and then if you do it on Crystal Veil, the highest pool right now, you can do Crystal and Bitcoin, Crystal and Clay token, Crystal and...
Now, is there a market for this? Is there a market for these tokens to be sold?
What now? What now?
Is there a current market for these tokens to be sold?
Oh, yeah. You can go right on the deck, sell them, and trade them at will.
Wow.
And there's demand for them because in the game, to play the game, there are several things you want to do in the game. You want to summon your heroes, and that costs Jade or Crystal, depending on which realm you're on.
Oh, what's tiers?
Tiers have exploded thanks to Hubert's big brains. And we haven't even scratched the surface of what is going to come very soon on tiers and gold and all of the in-game items. So in-game, another thing in-game is you get eggs. You try to get these eggs when you go on the quests. When you get the eggs, you can hatch the eggs. To hatch the eggs, it also costs Jade Crystal.
You're taking me down a deep rabbit hole. I didn't even know it existed.
Oh my goodness. And then you get pets. And there's several different rarities of pets and heroes. And these pets will help you very soon to come as Profession 10 level questing, will also help you in questing. But all the way up to this point, we've had no use case yet for the pets. No use case. So the value of the pets have plummeted. Well, just around the corner. And I'm talking within the next week, 2 to 3 weeks, 1 to 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to have Profession 10 level quests where pets can be used. And we have over 100,000 eggs that have yet to be hatched in the ecosystem. Guess what it costs to hatch the eggs? 200 tiers, every egg. So there's not enough tiers in existence in the game to hatch all the eggs. There's hardly enough gold in existence in the game to hatch all the eggs. There's going to be a huge demand of pets coming very soon. Then in the next month or 2 or 3 months, okay, we're going to have combat in which also pets can be used for combat. And we're all going to want our awesome pets for actual big brain and all the combat alpha comes out every week. We're getting it every week. And what's shaken out. And it actually might be launched by the end of March. It's very possible. If he wants to come out with just a basic combat, which is our basic heroes, and then keep expanding from there, he might do that. Workhorse, who's developing that out with Wisdom Gaming, and Hubert. Okay, so all this is coming. And so there's a demand for these NFTs, for these heroes. So what do we want to do? We want to summon more heroes. To summon these heroes, to hatch the eggs, it costs tiers. It costs Jade. It costs Crystal. It costs to hatch the eggs. It costs gold. Okay, to do all these things. And there's big demand to do all this. And so it's so fun. Right now is the time to get in. If you haven't gotten into the game, you're coming into a time when this whole ecosystem is downtrodden. We're like beaten and battered and bruised from all the crap that we've been through. We've been through a bridge hack. We've been through an exodus. We've been through development that has been delayed, but just look at all the development that has happened in this ecosystem in 1.5 years. They have their own blockchain. They have all these partnerships. They have all these in game. You can already duel. So when you go duel, If you do a duel, you win raffle tickets. And when you duel, uh, I think it's 50% of all that crystal or jade used gets burned out of existence. Now, just this week, over this last week or two, they come out with updates almost every week. The devs do actual in-game functionality updates coming out. Now we can actually use our locked jade or locked crystal for actual in-game things. And if you do that, there's a blessing where we can get items in game that's important for power leveling our heroes. When we level our heroes, we sometimes you can use a crystal, and these crystals have value. There's good crystals and there's cheap, not as good crystals. Well, you can actually win these awesome crystals by using your locked crystal, the in-game power token crystal. You can use your crystal now, and 75% of the crystal and 75% of the jade when it comes, it's not yet functioning yet on the Clayton chain. But when that comes, 75% of the jade gets burned out of existence. It just, and I can go on and on
Right.
and on
All right,
and
Grady.
on.
All right, Grady. Catch your breath. Catch your breath. It's okay. You can breathe
Okay.
now.
I love it. So
you,
back to
man,
tokenomics.
you are the pump, man. That's the reason why it's going up.
Oh man.
Who
So
has
well,
more
Jewel,
energy, man? Does your kids have more energy than you, or you have more
I'll
energy
tell
than
you,
kids?
you should have seen us in Miami. We're going to be in East Denver, repping DeFi Kingdoms, baby. In Miami and DeCentralCon, we were the number one
Bro,
most rep project in the whole thing. It was
get
awesome.
out over here on the West Coast, man. Get over here at Blockchain Expo in Santa Clara. They just opened up registration, I think on Monday.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No. See, I might be in LA because there's a new TV show coming out called Next Crypto Gym. Next Crypto Gym
Ooh.
TV show. It's an actual TV show with big partnerships, big time people on this show, such as I am George Raw George, Cryptos R Us. He's one of the judges, and they're going to be judging different crypto projects.
So is this like Shark Tank for crypto?
Yes, it's the Shark Tank for crypto, but it's also like or the voice for crypto.
That's so great.
And the thing, I might just go help them. I might come to LA in March
That's
just
awesome,
to help
dude.
them this show. But I'm really hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that DeFi Kingdoms, I think my understanding is like there's top 16 projects, but then only 4 out of the 16 make the cut,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, having my fingers crossed, the DeFi Kingdoms. I know there's some favor going on. BitBoy's going to be on there. One of the original sharks from Shark Tank's going to be on there. And I'm really hoping DeFi Kingdoms makes the cut, baby. I don't know. We'll see, but I think it's looking like it's a real possibility. But back to the tokenomics, I wanted to mention too. With Jewel, on top of everything I just said, if you stake your Jewel in the jeweler, not only are you earning significant amount of fees that the whole ecosystem generates, you're earning fees. The ecosystem's earning fees from summoning all these different things. Well, that gets sold into Jewel. A portion of that gets sold into Jewel and goes to the jeweler for rewards and for governance, but also for in-game power-ups going on for your heroes. That's going to be important for our questing and for our PvE system and for the combat system. It's just like, it's so fun and it's so exciting. It's so awesome. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There's so much there. Jake.
Well, I mean, this is, man, I don't want to call it over my head, but
It's a lot.
I do play an NFT game. It's nothing like this.
That's a lot. Dude.
It is so boring by comparison to DeFi Kingdoms.
Oh man, wait until we dive into the genetics of the heroes. It's mind blowing. And I'm telling you, this combat system, this PvE, this esport system they're developing is going to be mind blowing.
So Grady, like, how did you get into it? Like, what's your connection in DeFi Kingdoms? Like, how deeply connected are you with DeFi Kingdoms?
Well, okay. So here's what happened. I heard about it from some of the different influencers with YouTube channels like Drake on Digital, first heard about it from him. And then I started hearing about it from George, I am George, and Crypto Manran, Crypto Banter, and actually a few other channels. And then I started looking in the project. And then all the FUD hit against Frisky Fox. And it caused me to really do a deep dive into getting to know the team. And
why? That's a turning point right there. Why did you care? Why didn't you just like walk away?
Well, because from everything I could tell, all these accusations that were happening was the opposite of everything I had ever seen from the project. From the core values to everything, to the development, to the way the team listens to the community feedback. And it caused me to, the more I looked into it, the more I was like, you know how a lot of this is normal in crypto, where most crypto projects aren't good at sales and marketing and messaging.
Trust me, that's why we do this, man.
That's like every project.
Yeah, they're a bunch of nerdy engineers, brilliant developers, and I'm just like, but even as far as on that standpoint, they do a great job because they're doing these weekly AMAs. They still do better than most other crypto projects out there. But I was like, man, I just thought to myself, had I handled this situation, it would have been put to bed, and I would have used this negative, turned it into a positive, and kept rocking and rolling. That was my mindset. But these guys just need help with messaging and marketing. So that actually, it's like I can't help myself, but I couldn't help myself but come to their defense, because they're the best team I've ever seen. And I couldn't help myself but literally start a YouTube channel to come to the defense of DeFi Kingdoms. But at that point, the damage had already been done. So if you're new in the project, anyone coming in, you're coming in. The all-time high of Jewel was at $24. Right now, it's at like 25 cents, 26 cents. Mm-hmm. Okay. You're coming at just a wonderful time. It's a micro cap coin. We're talking like, I don't even know if it's $20 million on the market cap. So just imagine the upside here. And so it's that next crypto gem. I found it. And I want to help the team. So my vision is to help the team with messaging and marketing, essentially. And I don't even know where that's going to go. I had actually back then in May, I had talked and several times since then had talked with Frisky Fox about possibly coming on the team as like a marketing PR guy. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen or not. But it's things like getting them reconnected with George. Even today, right before this stream, I was listening to Hustle, and Hustle finally gave DeFi Kingdoms for the first time in months and months, gave DeFi Kingdoms 2 shout outs on his show today. This week, for the first time in months and months, George gave DeFi Kingdoms 2 shout outs. That's because I've been reaching out to him. I've been emailing him back and forth, chatting with him, nice. And really constantly on their radar. And that's what it takes to really kind of rebound for this team and for this project to rebound. It's going to take a lot of work in marketing and messaging. And that's just kind of where I see myself fit in.
That's awesome, dude. That's so great, man. You're a humble man. You know that? There's not a lot of people out there like you that would do that. You know, that's why I asked, why didn't you just walk away? Because I think the average person would be like, you know what? I'm not even involved in the project. I'll just walk away. I don't care. You know.
And that's what about 100,000 people left the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. That's what happened. But it's like, man, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. This team. So and the cohesion even happening with the team it's just stronger. And so, I'm going to be in Denver with the team. Then we're flying from there to Minneapolis to be with Wisdom Gaming guys right after that in March. And then who knows, maybe be in LA. So how close is Santa Clara to LA?
What is it, like 8 hours, Jake?
Oh,
it's one's NorCal, the other one's SoCal. So it's not close by.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I believe in the team and the project so much.
You
I
know,
just can't help
normally
myself.
when we have guest speakers on the podcast, we have to ask a lot of questions to try to hit every single angle, to try to get as much information as we can. But with you, buddy, you just went
Mm,
ahead and just said it all, man. You did
baby.
everything. You know, you have experience. You clearly have experience in doing this stuff. This is great, man. You're a good
I
man.
know a couple of coins that could really use your enthusiasm.
You know, when we were in Miami at the Central Con, everybody thought like they're like, "What's going on here? Are we like paid by the team to come and like shill this project?" Everybody thought that, but no, man. We've developed this super. It's very small ecosystem now at this point, but a very strong, like phenomenal community within this ecosystem now. Several YouTubers are popping up all over the place. Some of which are in this chat, and that are just starting their little channel, getting some experience going. There's several really good YouTubers, but we're all just a bunch of little guys that need to spread the word. But I would love to have you guys also on the channel, and I'm the time warp. So I'll blink one time Bolin, who's the head of DeFi Kingdoms, the community like lead. He's kind of in charge of community engagement. He came on the channel, and we ended up doing an 8-hour stream, all
Wow.
constant like ink, and it'll be a 2, 3, 4 hour stream. I call myself a time warp. It's crazy, but I love to get. I got a new guy on one time, and he had his YouTube channel called About Life Podcast. Brought him on. We did like a 3 hour intro into the game, and now he's doing videos almost every day on DeFi Kingdoms. That was like 4 months ago. So fun. So I would love to actually dive in, help hold people's hand, walk people through the ABCs of the game, get people started.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is the sort of thing that you mentioned Gala earlier as a reference, but I got into Gala the very very beginning before it even had a coin,
Yeah.
and then they dumped the coin on the market, and then a year later it blew up. But obviously, uh, DeFi Kingdoms has had its blown up moment, but there's nothing that says it can't have a resurgence, and we're already seeing it by the amount of integration with other chains and the amount of updates and changes to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Not just due to your enthusiasm, but the more people talk about the thing, the more people go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, it's still coming. Oh, it's still a thing. Great." Because I feel like John and I talk about some gaming, and I talk about the game that I play, which I was mentioning was boring by a factor of 1,000 here compared to DeFi Kingdoms. It's called Upland. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not a particularly exciting game, although they do try to make it interesting with all the little NFT things they do. But I got into it as an investment project because I like the idea of buying property. I can't technically afford real property, well, at least no more than one. But pardon me. It's looking at DeFi Kingdoms. I think the comment I wanted to make was this is a real throwback for me to like early Final Fantasy or the overhead scroller like Legend of Zelda, the original 1985 Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And people like that, and if you're in my age group, mid 40s, and it's a real throwback. It's one of those exciting things like, oh, this is just like what I remember, or Final Fantasy of that sort, a
Love Final
multiplayer
Fantasy.
kind of game.
Yes.
John's a huge a Final Fantasy whatever game fan.
Right.
So the fact that someone's doing this and it's making progress and it's actually a reality. It's not just this. Oh yeah, fantasy. Well, what was it? Sandbox pre-sold all their NFTs, but they didn't have a game.
Right.
And so it's like you can't. I'm not saying a person can't because I got into Mega Cryptopol. I can't pronounce the name. Mega Cryptopolis, I think. And I got into Decentraland in the early days when
Right.
things didn't cost very much. But I couldn't even buy. People already bought all the property in Decentraland. I'm like, I can't get anything. And they're like, well, it's mainly for developers. I'm like, yeah, but what if I wanted to own something? They're like, well, do you have 100 ETH? I'm like, no.
I know.
So
And then
or even
the devs at Decentraland kind of stepped away, but they wanted it to be decentralized and everything. But I mean, then you compare that, the devs, I'm telling you, are working 7 days a week, grinding around the clock for it's like they never get a break. They never get a vacation. So I'm always like, hey guys, it's okay to take a vacation every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's
let
crazy.
somebody else do that job. But yes, but I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that in seeing DeFi kingdoms not just expanding, but actually functionally active, doing something real. I mean, of course, Gala Games has their Farmville equivalent, whatever it's called, Star something. I can't even remember the name of it. But and so it is a playable game, and it's browser based. But it's I don't see it making as much progress as what I've already seen in just the last, I guess, almost hour. Well, it's been exactly an hour since you've been talking. So I'm really enthusiastic about DeFi Kingdoms and really getting into it. In fact, John, I think, used. Have you heard of GatherTown? I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Gather Town.
It's a similar look to
like 8-bit metaverse.
It's all 8-bit overhead scroller, but it's more of a conference room than it is a game that has a game in it. But I was looking at it going, oh, this looks like GatherTown. It's way more complicated than GatherTown. But I guess the point I was trying to get at was I'm a very long time Blizzard fan since the 90s. And I've been playing World of Warcraft as well as other games that Blizzard has made in the last 20 years. It would be great to see somebody do like what's already being done with DeFi Kingdoms with an already existing game. And I'm sure it's possible. I don't think Blizz will ever talk to you guys on that level, but I'm sure it's completely adaptable to that idea. And the reason I bring this up at all is because those kinds of things, you play this really complicated character, there's all these different aspects to it, and you play it for a really long time. That has prestige to it. And the thing we actually saw recently with Dookie Dash from Yuga Labs was that people like prestige, and they're willing to pay money for it. So if you had a character in DeFi Kingdoms, or multiple characters, and you built them up over time, somebody might be willing to pay you $100,000 for your character or set of characters, which is open to the market. It's readily available. Anybody can invest, play the game, invest in the game, stake in the game, or just buy into the game.
That's right. All the above. And the same thing happens now. There's each hero has a generation. There's Gen 0, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, and it's not super complicated, but I could explain. But the Gen 0 heroes and the exalted hero, the Dread Knight with the mythic, so there has been Gen 0 heroes in the past that sold for over 100,000 in this game, and now the Gen 0 floor has come back up some, and it's over $3,000. The floor of Gen Zeros is over $3,000.
I was thinking about this because in the 90s, for myself, I'm going to date myself with this. I already said all the time. But I played Wizards of the Coast's Magic the Gathering. And I do have some Black Lotuses in my collection. So,
this game. So Magic,
it's the same kind of thing, right? Except this is universal. I mean, it's like, it's not yes, Wizards of the Coast does have an online game you can play. But DeFi Kingdoms, from what I can see and what you said, although somewhat more complex than, actually probably isn't more complex if I think about how many cards there are in Wizards of the Coast games, but it lends itself to so much more functionality. It's like the comparison between fiat and Bitcoin. Sure, they do the same thing effectively, but Bitcoin is far more functional than fiat by itself could ever be.
Right. Hey, and we haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't talked about crafting. We haven't talked, there's even so much more. That's why I would love to have you guys on the channel and really dive deep. And I'll be like a kid in a candy store, baby, showing you all the stuff in the game. It'd be so fun.
So this is the thing that's so fascinating to me about listening to you speak about this thing. It's great to hear somebody that's so super enthusiastic. I know I am about the games I play, but it's amazing to see the functionality. And I feel like, I heard of DeFi Kingdom because John was talking about it to me when we're going to interview you, but so much more depth to it than I ever imagined.
Oh,
And I'm so grateful to see that, because it means that it's not just a surface project. It's not just a sandbox. It's a thing. It's a
yeah,
real thing, and it's got a life of its own. For
yeah.
the people in the comments.
About and the updates and the new things that are about to come are just going to be groundbreaking, and it's real soon. It's real soon. Hey, and I wanted to mention also Magic the Gathering and like Dungeons and Dragons and some of these games had a huge impact on DeFi Kingdoms, especially Magic the Gathering. There's
Surprised.
definitely some similarities there. Yep.
Mhm.
Yes. So I would love to get you guys on the channel sometime.
Yeah.
That'd be so fun.
I'm
No, I
actually
think
looking
I
at.
think we could probably do that at some point.
I'm looking at dickscreener.com and
Yeah.
looking up DeFi Kingdoms, and what you said is facts. There's a lot of liquidity with this game. I'm surprised. Looks like in the last 24 hours, nearly $500,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy for a project like this. There needs to be more, man. Where's the people at? We got to talk about this more.
Well,
We're
we've got some
talking
people
the
in chat.
ecosystem right now. The ecosystem is less than 1,000 people. No
Wow.
kidding.
Yeah. So this is a prime time to get in. So if
Yeah.
we're gonna promote anything at all, this is. Let me just talked about it in the beginning of the podcast. I got into Gala early.
Uh-huh.
They gave me a payment. They're like, "Here's the little payment for promoting our game. It's worth like $10." And then they put everything on the market. Just I don't remember even. Maybe it was Bybit. I don't remember where they put their coin initially. And then they got into Coinbase 8 months later. And when you get on Coinbase, your coin will blow up. That always happens. Almost always happens. I know Shiba Inu certainly blew up, and that was a fun day for me too. But the point I'm trying to get at is, I had no idea that if I just held on to the gargantuan sum of coins they gave me in the initial distribution, I would have been a millionaire.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that, but I have this experience that, and John and I've said this many times on the podcast: never sell your whole bag. Right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna sell 20 or 60% of it if you think it's not going to be worth any, but always hold on to some of the coins. And you did. You said you held on to 10% of the original amount of the other coins. So this
after a 20x, I did. Yeah.
This opportunity, right, of Binance or Binance token. This opportunity, what you're presenting right now, I can see it. I don't know what it is. Like John teases me constantly. I made a terrible prediction. What was that prediction, John?
Bitcoin wouldn't go over $20,000.
Yeah, I said this in November of 2020. And what happened in December?
Boom.
It broke 25,000 and continued up from there.
It didn't stop. It just kept going. Going. And it went all the way up to 42,000. It's like, what is going on?
Exactly. And so I've made this mistake before, and I will never make it again by making a claim that something like DeFi Kingdoms, who had a huge boon only a year and a half ago, when the price exploded, can't come back. Of course it can, and it will. And so what I guess I'm thinking, I'm not trying to make any predictions. I'm just trying to say that it seems like there's this gargantuan, like, pun intended, avalanche, like I said, of content capability just sitting here waiting to explode.
Yeah, and hey, Dreamer, just today, Dreamer mentioned, I think we're going to be going on something like a Coinbase or a Binance or a Crypto.com real soon. Jewel is going to be listed on a major centralized exchange. It's been in the works for a while, so that'll be big.
Nice.
It'll absolutely be huge.
Real soon. He said he might even be able to make the announcement in the next week or two. He said that today in the AMA on like which one it is. So, man, this was such a great time with you guys.
Awesome,
I
dude.
sure hope on YouTube. Is this going to go on YouTube as well?
Yes, this will go on YouTube.
So
I will. Hey, let's double. Hey, DeFi Kingdoms community, let's at least double their subscribers, baby. I love it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yes. So I will share that YouTube video like crazy. And I'm pretty confident we can double your subscribers.
Oh, that's awesome.
We will definitely send more people your way by talking about DeFi Kingdoms. So basically, every chance I get, I mention Upland, but now I'm going to start playing DeFi Kingdoms, and I'm going to have to start mentioning it all the time. So
I love it.
All right, Grady. So
Do you guys have more questions or thoughts?
yeah. So
anything?
the question is, if there's any opportunities out there for DeFi Kingdoms, if anybody, what like job opportunities are out there with DeFi Kingdoms?
Well, I'm actually not. Oh, I'm not sure, but I know there is a way to apply to be on the team, and there's a way for third-party people to be mentioned in their castle. Like Born to Die right here in the chat. Okay, Born to Die 007, baby. There's several people that are already. I think he's already listed. Maybe not. He's got one of the best tools of the whole game. Called DFK Quester, and it can do several different things that he's developed out. And he has applied where his project will actually show up in game in the castle, and there already is several. There's several already there, and you can, and also especially like third-party developers, other people developing games, third-party games. Especially the ones where the heroes are utilized, though, and that's part of the support that DFK will offer. But as far as job openings to be a part of the team, I'm not sure. Actually, I was going to talk to Dreamer and Frisky pretty soon, actually, about some of those things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it'd be good. It would be good to know for sure. Absolutely, man. All right, so a couple more questions before we let you go. You're obviously very passionate about this. It's great, man. I don't recall the last time we had somebody so passionate about a project on the podcast in a very, very long time. What's some advice you would give to somebody that wants to pursue the things that you're doing, with DeFi Kingdoms or just any projects, just having the enthusiasm to go out and just do things?
Well, it's just kind of, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. It's just, and we all have gifts. So if you actually knew the condition of my life, you would probably be really concerned. I've got a lot of weaknesses, but it's just part of my DNA is that when I find something that is a true gem, that is something worth touting, I will shout it from the rooftops.
That's what you've been doing. That's good, man. I love it.
Yeah, and if that could be anything. My favorite pizza delivery guy, a good McDonald's check-through person, like good people, good staff, or good products, good restaurants.
I could already imagine, man. You're going through the McDonald's drive-through, yelling at the speaker box, "DeFi Kingdoms."
Yeah, well, or it'll be like, man, this guy's good at his job. Maybe I need to hire this guy. So I've almost hired a couple people that were drive-through people in McDonald's. Actually, I've hired AT&T reps. I've hired, all of those type things. But if it's like a really good restaurant, because generally speaking, I'm really hard to please. So I'm really hard on most projects. Most of the time, everything everywhere always sucks. And so when you find something that doesn't suck, but is really awesome, on the flip side, I will just become their number one evangelizer, basically. Awesome. And so, but to answer that question, if someone wants to just get in the game, you can start by just buying up a little bit of Jewel, dollar cost averaging in, put that in the jeweler, or go into the liquidity pools on the DEX in the gardens or with the trader in the game, and start, it's some pretty juicy APRs, some good interest you'll make.
Nice.
And then you can start following some of the channels, and I'll be happy to get anybody on the channel anytime new to the game and help walk them through how to get in the game. I have so much fun doing it. And the complexity of the heroes, how to buy a hero, just ABCs, how to get in the game.
Great. So at this point in your life, you've already gained a lot of experience, your crypto experience. What's one thing you wish you had known at the beginning of your journey that you know now?
Okay. So knowing when to, great question. Knowing the fundamentals of a project, knowing how to look at a project and understanding the power of dollar cost averaging. And because I'm not a great trader, if you want to be a trader and try to time the markets, you got to be really good and spend a lot of time, like multiple hours a day around the clock, 7 days a week, if you want to be a trader. But if you don't want to be a trader, finding the good projects that you believe in and coins, like, of course, starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum, dollar cost averaging into those projects little by little, not like literally money that you don't need, that
Mm-hmm.
you could just throw away and still be fine.
Yep.
And in your mind, put that money in there and forget about it
You don't
like
know.
it's retirement.
You don't know how many
401k.
times I've received messages from people saying, "Hey, I invested my entire life savings, and I need
Oh my God.
help. My family needs help." It's
Yes,
depressing, man. It's sad that people
it
do
is.
that.
I know, right? And so money that you don't need to live on, that you can think of it like your 401k, that you're putting 5% of your paycheck in, or something like that. And and just let it grow. Okay. So you dollar cost average in, you find the other good speculative projects like this one, like DeFi Kingdoms. There's lots of other good ones. Cosmos, I'm in several projects, not as many now. And dollar cost averaging in. And then if the coin goes 3 or 4 X's,
Mm-hmm.
your money, start dollar cost averaging little bits out. Okay.
Nice.
And hold through the long run. And then once you 3X your input in back out,
Mm-hmm.
then you can keep just over time dollar cost averaging in slowly over time into the good projects, but then also knowing when to get out, because
That's the
sometimes
hard part. Yeah.
you got to stay awake and follow the projects that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
because if a lot of the teams, you know, they disband, they don't click, there's problems that come up, it's hard to manage a business and it's hard to manage a team. So you have to pay attention to writing on the wall when it's looking like a project might die, because there's a lot of projects like EOS and Neo and several like Substratum that I was really big on, tons of good projects out there that just didn't make it because the team closed the doors for whatever reason. You got to know to get the F out
Mm-hmm.
completely, get out of the dead projects and stick with the ones that you have conviction in.
That's good
It
advice.
doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean, like Chainlink, for example, doesn't necessarily mean it will pump to the moon, but it probably will eventually, because we know that the use case is there. The tokenomics with Chainlink isn't necessarily best, but it's a lot better now. The tokenomics with Chainlink, perfect example. It's better now, and eventually it'll probably moon. So now, I miss my awesome,
That's awesome, dude.
you know,
Yeah. So
did it?
you have your own
Yeah.
YouTube channel. That's great.
Hmm.
I'll be checking that out. But here's my question: If you can step in my shoes as the host, what would you have asked yourself that I did not?
What would I what?
What would
What
you
was that?
ask yourself that I haven't at this point? Did you feel like you fulfilled the DeFi mission?
I I feel like that is a mouthful. I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say.
All right, then
We got.
let's then where can the listeners connect with you online if they want to know more
Um,
and know more about DeFi Kingdoms?
yeah, my Twitter is actually at Grady Gamble, even though it says Crypto Grady, but it's at Grady Gamble. And but it's Crypto Grady on YouTube. Pretty easy to find if you just search Crypto Grady, and that's G with a George Grady, Crypto Grady. Uh, you search Crypto Grady, I'll come right up, or DeFi Kingdoms Crypto Grady. And I try to do pretty regular videos. Um, I, I probably should be doing videos every day, but it's not necessarily every day, but definitely multiple videos a week, generally speaking. And yeah, man.
All right. Well, it's nice having you on the podcast. It's great to learn more about DeFi Kingdoms, a world that I did not even know existed. Like you took us down way
Yes.
down the rabbit hole, which is great, man. It was nice to have you on. Until next time, buddy.
I love it.
Yeah, it was great.
We barely scratched the surface. You should come on the channel and we'll really go down the rabbit hole, baby.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
John's
Okay.
serious into recording so many different projects that we're involved
we'll be touching
in.
base. We'll be touching base for sure.
But yeah, well, absolutely getting more involved in this one because the more we can, the more the merrier. We're crypto agnostic. We do it all.
Yes.
So
Same here. Same here. Love you guys.
All right, so we're live streamed on Twitch. It'll be uploaded to YouTube and on Odyssey. We're uploaded to at least a dozen different podcast platforms. So whatever you listen to, that's where it's going to be uploaded as well. So if you want to listen to it, there it is. All right. So with that said, for everybody that's on Twitch live, just go ahead and hang out for a bit for the after party. We're going to have a nice little sesh right after. For everyone else, Jake, go ahead and wind us out of here.
As we always say, we do actually another show coming up next week. It'll be with Sean. But you can also check out our Cointree, cointr.ee/C3 Media. You can see us for all of our different channels, and you can donate if you like. We also have Patreon, where you can catch all this content. If you missed it, it will all be up there on Patreon, pre-show, post-show. Of course, the main podcast itself is always up on YouTube and all the other sites like Anchor.fm. So, at the end of every show, we always say, stack sats and hodl.
Yeah.
Adios.
I love you.